We've all had a D&D party with one or more players that have the best of intentions but end up wreaking havoc on the plot and the planning. Well, I mean, not me. My players are perfect little cherubs of arcane annihilation. Now, before I list several common poor playstyles and how they result from good intentions, I want to point out that I have been guilty of most of these at one point or another. We all have our good sessions and our bad, and we all have room for improvement. They came to kick butt and literally nothing else. No roleplay, no lore, not even flirting with a barmaid. What may be happening here is a player may be lacking confidence in roleplay, or they just might not feel very immersed in your world and may not know how to properly interact with it. Or, and I'm guilty of this every couple of weeks, they just came for D&D to blow off some steam and kick some butt, and to do this in a way that doesn't get them arrested. I mean, I can't go into my backyard and fight an Umber Hulk, but I can do so in-game. So long as they're not disrupting the plot by battling every NPC they see and picking fights with the king, this might not be a problem. Perhaps they want to be that stoic bodyguard, quiet until battle breaks out. Give them a few opportunities to try some low-stakes, low-intensity roleplay to build up confidence or skill. Perhaps they're a 12-year-old who came here for fisticuffs. Nothing's wrong with that. If so, maybe the campaign would be better if you put a little more combat in there. This should be something you ask in session 0. Why are you playing? Are you playing here to fight? If so, put more combat in. It might be time for session re-0 if you've had a few new players join your campaign, and I've seen this happen before, where new players join and we get more combat. Everything is a joke. No, really. Everything is a joke. First they're giggling at goblins, and they're making gags about your purple worm, and a purple worm is no reason for gagging. There's a lot of good D&D jokes and memes out there, and there are some campaigns that are a lot more fun when everything's kind of a little wacky. And let's face it, some people come here for the lulz, some people come here to battle lulz. The question, is your character saying this, can serve as a touchstone to remind people that they are actually playing in a game. Perhaps the character is actually saying that. Maybe they're playing as Deadpool or Spider-Man, where they throw out a few one-liners and then throw out a few fisticuffs. Keep them from monologuing through combat by reminding them to honor the turn times. This is where the 1 to 10 rule works pretty well. 1 second in-game is 10 seconds out of game, so your turn should be about 60 seconds, then hand it over to the next person. Ask them how their character could have maybe an appropriate time for humor in a side quest. If they keep making the same joke, maybe that could actually be a bit of the plot. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, maybe that could kind of explain to them that they need their jokes to actually have some relevance in-game. It could be a good challenge to build that kind of quest. Of course, if the jokes are offensive or are really getting on other party members' nerves, that's time to put on the DM hat and be an adult. Some days they're running the plot, other days they're just not there. They know everything in one session, and they're not helping the party at all in the next. And the whiplash is damaging party cohesion because we never really know who's the leader. So what's going on? This might be the gaming output of a very busy and chaotic life. Could actually be some mental health issues where some days they just don't come mentally able to play. But maybe they're a veteran player with a group of newbies, so they know everything that's going to be going on, but then they don't want to give away the answers to that puzzle that they've seen 18 times. There's no real clear in-game solution for this. This could actually be more of a serious personal conversation. Ask them how they're feeling about the game. Maybe they're waiting for an opportunity to say, you know what, I've kind of seen this all before, and I'm just not feeling it, man. Or maybe their character is just really not jiving with them. That redneck cowboy elf that they're playing just isn't something they're comfortable playing most days. Maybe they're impatient to meet the real good bad guys and get up to those upper levels. Many possible reasons for this are worth some deeper investigation. The backseat DM, the rules lawyer, the brains of the group because their character spent years in wizarding school memorizing the weakness, the lore, and these things called hit points. To everyone's chagrin, they actually remember the layer actions and the legendary actions when that battle with the dragon is starting to go wrong. Maybe they just want to be helpful, and honestly, that's probably a good place to start your assumptions. Don't assume that they came to run the game. That's just not really going to build good interpersonal work. 4 words can shut down most corrections. This is a homebrew. But honestly, let them have a one-shot if they're being very helpful. Don't take your time during that one-shot to show them how it feels. No. Take your time to that one-shot to just enjoy being a player and see how well it goes. Don't point at things out during the game. Just let them roll with it. They'll know if they're doing something wrong. Someone who knows it all deserves to be behind the screen. You don't get an A in D&D. There's no extra credit. but there is room for promotion. They know the best spells, the coolest weapons, and the most powerful magical items. And they want to use them all. Who doesn't want to smite some demons with a Holy Avenger while wearing enchanted adamantine armor? Legendary items are fun, and being the fantasy character to wield them does get a bit satisfying. I mean, what kind of weapons do I get to use around here? A butter knife of plus nothing? Pfft, forget that. I want a Vorpal blade. The problem here, though, is power creep. First, you're giving them cool items, and then to equilibrate the party, you're giving the party cool items, and then to equilibrate the combat, you're throwing a brass dragon at them at level 3. That can be a bit of a problem. Like with Minecraft Dungeons, they ran into this problem when low-level players got high-level gear somehow. The combat would just not be challenging. One thing to point out, though, is there are plenty of uncommon artifacts that can be used to great effect. An immovable rod, a bag of holding, a hat of disguise. Not very large objects, but let your players use some of those early on. When they ask later on to get something really cool, like a wand of fireballs, tell them you've already given them magical items, and they should play with those first before they can move on to the dessert. Or if they have used them really well, I mean, why not give them something cooler and see how they could use that to great effect as well. Or maybe put the legendary items and make them a lot harder to find. Like you've got that one quest you really want them to take. Sure, it's got the legendary item at the end, or maybe a shard of it or something. Or give little minor curses to the objects. Maybe that Holy Avenger only works for 1 minute after it has tasted the blood of the innocent. Every magical item in the game should weep lore and should push the plot forward, not merely satisfy a desire to have cool things. So what are some cool ways you have had the best of intentions but the worst of play? Let me know in the comments, or maybe tell me how you've corrected some behaviors that were going askew in a fun and kind way.